Isn't it really fun? Yes, of course it is. Well, unless you're the person who's, getting chaos done, if that even makes sense. But if you're the one who's just ensuing chaos everywhere around you in a healthy manner, like a video game, then it's fun as fuck. So I'm gonna look at 3 different types of games. Each one has chaos, but they all do each one differently. So mainly I'm looking at the Far Cry series, the Just Cause series, and the GTA series, but I will only be focusing on one of each of those games. So GTA 4, Far Cry 4, and Just Cause 4, or 3. In this case it's 3. Okay, why those 3 games? Because I played them, and then played really any other games, so yeah. So chaos, what makes them so chaotic at times? Well, that's easy. There's guns, explosions, vehicles, and sometimes, in the case of Far Cry and Just Cause, exotic backdrop, or at least to Westerners. This all makes a very cheesy action film, but that's not always bad. It's fun to get let loose and enjoy a bit of escapism every once in a while. So not all of these games are perfect, but I think it sets out what they want for the most part, and that's just simply fun and chaos. So a lot of these games get you quick into the action of the game. Just Cause, for example. You're in a plane at night, there's explosions everywhere. Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take a rocket launcher, get on top of the plane, I don't even know how it's possible, and just start shooting down a bunch of bad guys. What? It's pretty crazy, but it's fun. It's just fun. That's what chaos is all about. Far Cry also does that a little slower. Just Cause is the most chaotic out of them. And GTA, well, it doesn't throw you right into that all immediately, but it does sort of build up to that. And if you want, after the first mission or 2, you could do anything chaotic you want. Just driving cars around and blowing them up and just fun stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty easy to get to the chaos pretty quickly, which I think is a great part about it. However, in terms of Just Cause, I feel like it throws away its best cards very quickly. So the set piece of you on the plane shooting down bad guys with a missile launcher right away, not only that, but it's infinite. It's just pure chaos. I feel like you can't really get more than that. You can't go further than that, because that's already as crazy as could get, almost. So if you see anything else like that, it's going to be like, seen that, done that. It doesn't build up to it like GTA, for example. But it does give you that instant satisfaction, but still, it's not going to make you play it for very much longer than, like, say, GTA. So yeah, all of these have very fun chaos, I think. It has many explosions, simple to destroy everything. So to kill down bad guys in Just Cause, it just takes a few bullets. Same thing in Far Cry, and also the same thing in GTA, which is fun. If you look at a game like Division, it takes 2 clips to take down one person or something at sometimes. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. Now, it makes sense for the player to have a lot more health than the enemies, right? And just throw a bunch of more enemies at the player. That makes sense. I mean, it doesn't really make sense realistically in the video game's perspective. Yes, it does, because that's what makes it fun. But if you do something like the Division, where it takes a lot to kick down one enemy that's a scrub, it's just not that really fun. They're like bullet sponges, and no one likes that. So, however, all of these games, and I'm just talking about the chaos part, is that it's not something you want to play for hours and hours on end. Chaos doesn't really have much depth to begin with, so you can only play like an hour or 2 before you start to get bored blowing up cars or shooting out bad guys in like a jungle or something, right? And it's not bad. It's definitely a great way to relax after a long day of work or at school. I definitely think that it's not bad at all if you get bored of it really quickly, because you're not meant to play it for very long. So this stuff is only the chaos stuff. It's not really the story part, which I will get to in a second. But there's some games like MGS5, like Metal Gear Solid 5, in which it has a little bit more depth, and you can initiate chaos, but there's a lot more consequences for each action that you take. You start spending those bullets, like firing them away, like with big expensive machine gun, then yeah, it's fun, but you start losing the consequences. You can only do that so many times, so it limits you in that sense. You want to start throwing missile launchers around, like missiles everywhere. In Metal Gear Solid 5, you could do that, but you're gonna waste a lot of money, and not only that, but you're gonna get extreme amount of heat on you. Everyone's gonna be chasing you, and you could die really quickly. So that's what adds more depth to it. In these games with fun chaos, you are as strong as could be, almost. You're not supposed to get down really quickly. Like I said before, it's a cheesy action movie. You're not gonna get down all the time because it's not the point. The point is you just like to have fun shooting out as much as you can and exploring up stuff as much as you can. It's all to the extreme. Some games like Metal Gear Solid 5, you can get to the extreme, but there's a lot more barriers to get you through it. And they're not barriers that, oh man, this is painful to get through. It all makes sense. It's just challenges more. In these fun chaos games, the challenge is not there. If you run over a civilian in Just Cause or GTA 4, no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. The cops won't be like getting on you every single time. It's just one person. Unless the cops see you run them over right in front of them, then yes, but obviously the consequences of the real world does not apply to these games. So yeah, continuing on, we have stories and characters. So similarity on all these games with characters is that some of the characters do match the chaos, which is pretty interesting. So a lot of these characters could be extreme archetypes in these games, which I don't think anyone's really a big fan of too much, because we all like to have our characters with a little bit of depth, at least a little bit of something, the connection that you could feel with the characters. And these characters are very archetypical. In terms of Just Cause 3, all you have is a smart but distracted all the time scientist, and that's as far as that character development goes. Or fun, crazy, charismatic leader. That's as all as it goes. It doesn't go much farther than that, which is a little disappointing. You don't need to have this extreme character development into all of these characters, but just a little bit of connection for the main characters, I think, would go a long way. But the thing is, in Just Cause, they don't take themselves seriously. It matches the story and it matches the chaos quite well. It's all the same. The characters are crazy, the chaos is crazy, and the story is, while boring sometimes, is also crazy. It's not bad, and I don't think that's bad. It's just I wish it had a little bit better story, and I wish it had a little bit better characters, and that would make a really great game for me to match with chaos. In terms of Far Cry 4 in particular, and I'm pretty sure the other Far Cries as well, but you don't I feel like it takes itself too seriously with the story. The chaos is very chaotic, and obviously it's just fun. But when you look at the story, it's not as fun because it kind of takes itself too seriously and throws you some ambiguous moral choices like, oh, will you save the villagers or will you go with the bad guys? Oh, it's lazy writing, but it's also made it to be way too serious in that sense, and I don't think that game is about that at all. It should be, I feel, much more closer to Just Cause than GTA in that case, because GTA on this case actually has some pretty interesting characters and has a pretty interesting story at times. There is a sense of some archetypes in GTA. Oh, we got Roman, which is the Slav that went to America, kind of forgot his past. He's kind of idiot, you know, but he has something more than that. He's kind, he could be sweet. He has a Puerto Rican girlfriend, right? He's always there for, oh shit, I forgot his name. Nico. There we go. He's always there for Nico, which is great. And it just, that gives us a little bit more empathy and something more to his character than just, oh, I like to blow shit up, you know, like in Just Cause 3. So yeah, and what I like about GTA 4 and Just Cause 3 is that you know your main character quite well. You know Rico, you know Nico, they're right there. And I think the third person perspective really helps with that too, because once you have that, then you always see them. You always see them in cutscenes as well. In Far Cry, you feel very disconnected from your character. You don't even probably know how they look like. And it's just kind of disappointing because you're playing as them, right? I know it's first person, but that kind of derails it from how you feel to the character, your main character that you're playing with. And it kind of just feels like a faceless person that you just walk around and doing missions and boring stuff for people. Not all of it's boring, but some of it feels like, oh, I'm just doing this just because I have to do this, because I'm just this faceless I'm just this faceless walking person that shoots guns, I guess. That really takes it away from the game, I feel. So, and here, lastly, we have the mechanics and the leveling up system in each of these games. Now, of course, not all these games have like a leveling up system per se, but just how the game progresses. So in GTA, it's very progressive. So you don't start off right off the bat with a big machine gun and shooting down 50 million enemies. You don't. You start off with a small, cheap handgun. You go take on like a few gangsters or something in like a back alley, and that's it. But later on, it gets higher and higher with these set pieces. It gets more and more intense as you're going more and more deeper into this criminal underworld, which I think is really awesome. Just Cause, there's very little progressiveness in it in terms of like leveling it up and going through and getting new weapons and stuff, because it's not really, I don't think it should have that anyway. It just, there is a little bit where you're just simply getting new vehicles and stuff, like a scooter or something. You just bring it back to the garage and you got it, right? And that can be fun. That's not bad. Like, let's say you find a car that you really like. You could take it back to your garage and now it's there forever. And you could like summon it wherever. That's amazing. It doesn't limit you on what you can or can't have. You kind of have everything in the beginning. In the first hour, you already get like a big machine gun. You already get these big guns and missile launchers and everything. So it doesn't let back on that, which I think is great, because in this case, this game is all about chaos. It doesn't have much of a story, it doesn't have much anything besides that. So I think it's really great for the player to just get everything in the start. However, there's Far Cry, and if you can't tell at this point, I don't really like the Far Cry series as much. After like 3 and after, it's kind of boring to me, because there's a lot of tacked on leveling systems, which I really don't like. Why, out of all things, are you putting an RPG leveling system, like a tree, like a skill tree, in a game that's meant for all chaos? A lot of these skills feel very useless. It doesn't really do much. There's a few that are useful, but it's very tacked on. It's like, oh, you can't throw knives until you take this level. And it's like, who cares? I don't want to do that. And there's a lot of guns that you're limited by. You can't have this, you can't have this. But I feel like the game should be all about chaos, right? And that's a lot of it is. But it won't let you give that, which is a little silly. If you had a little bit more serious mechanics, like GTA, And it is all about chaos too, but if you had a little bit more serious mechanics like GTA or Metal Gear Solid, where, oh, you have more consequences by doing everything, then yes, that would make sense for the leveling up system. But this game is all about chaos, which doesn't make sense to me. That, oh, you want to do a lot of chaos all the time, right? Sorry, it won't let you because you have to get this and this gun after the 30th hour. And it's like, no, I don't care. I just want to use it now so I can just blow up stuff now, not 30 hours in the game where I could actually have fun. And not only that, but like, why does the game have to force you to shoot down these wildlife to get just extra ammo packages? I don't care about shooting down wildlife. It's a virtual game, whatever. PETA, I'm not working for PETA or anything. That's stupid. But what I don't like is, why do you have to go for these extra steps to get a little bit more ammo? Just a bit more. It's like, it's useless, I feel. And just cause you just get it right off the bat by dropped enemies, right? And GTA, the more money you have, the more you could buy, which goes along with the story because you will get more money after time, which I think that makes sense. But here, it's like, this is only chaos. GTA has a good story too, or at least a decent story at times. But here, it's like the story is shit. You just want to go through the chaos. At least, you know, in my point, I think the story is pretty bad. It just takes itself too seriously. So you just want to get straight to the chaos part, but you can't because, oh, you have to go for the story part and this tacked on leveling system, which I think is really stupid. So yeah, in conclusion, I think these 3 games do chaos pretty well, or at least decently. You got GTA 4, or Grand Theft Auto 4, in which is a little bit more progressive, and it has a pretty decent story, not the best, but it gets you progressively into more and more chaos with the story, but also outside of the story and just riding cars and stuff. We got the Just Cause series, which is the most extreme example of a cheesy action film in the video game, I think. Because this game is just pure chaos all the time, and even the story, while it can be very boring, it matches with the chaos quite well. And then there's Far Cry, which don't really like the game, but they do have some parts that are pretty good. Like the chaos is pretty good. The FPS mechanics are pretty good, I think. It's just, I'm not a big fan of it because of the tacked-on leveling system that takes its story way too seriously in a game that it should be all about chaos. So yeah, those are 3 games that I like to talk about chaos, and I hope you enjoy, because I certainly did enjoy making this video. So see you into the next video. Hey!